Hi, have you ever wondered if you can restore titanium golf clubs at home? For example, in a similar condition like the one on screen right now. Small spoiler, yes you can, and today I'm gonna show you how.
YouTube golfer.
So I started with brass brush to brush off all the old paint, which was coming out quite easily, as you can see. There were a big chips of paint coming off, but with a brush it took a lot of time, so I decided to just scrape them with the plastic part of a brush. The club condition was so bad that I changed my mind and started to just sanding it all down to the metal base. As you can see, I could just go straight to the sanding down. It doesn't really make any sense to brush it, so skip the brush and go straight to sanding. I also decided to give it a little polish to get rid of any residue that could still be on the surface. It took a while, but the outcome was so good that I think the next one I'm gonna do, I will leave it like this, just with a clear paint on the top, so it won't corrode. Here you can see the difference between the brushed surface on the left side and the sanded surface on the right side, because the brushed surface is much more even, without any scratches. That's gonna be the way I will prepare my club for painting. But before you start, you have to clean the surface. I'm using just a white spirit to do it. So again, we have some brushing to do, but this time I'm using a steel brush, because the brass one would be too soft for this. A quick wipe from any dust and we will be ready to mask the club for painting. When using a knife, be careful not to cut too deep, because you will hurt the club surface. You will probably do anyway, but harder you do it, deeper scratches you will have. There we are, ready for paint. And here we have a surprise. After a few days of curing the paint, I found that one of my kids probably used it as a hammer. So I found chips in the paint. The club was actually hurt more than it was before. So I had to sand it down again and go back to the painting. Hopefully you won't have to do this, but actually it's quite good to show you on this video how you can deal with damage to the paint like this. The chips were really deep, so I had to go back to the base. And now we're ready for another masking and another layer of paint. To avoid doing it later, I will give a last polish to the parts which are going to be exposed and not covered by paint. This time, instead of trying to stick the tape to the shapes, I will just cover it all and cut the shape with a knife. It's much faster and much more efficient, and because I have the paint underneath, I can easily see the shape I need. Let's go for a paint, shall we? Another surprise, where there was a paint, we can see the difference, so I don't like it. I have to smooth it again and give it the last paint. This time, thankfully, I don't have to mask it again. Keep it in mind that it might be worth to give it a good inspection before you're gonna take off the masking tape. There we are, ready to go again, the third time. Now a pretty tough part, because you have to cut out the paint from all the shapes to have the writings nice and deep, so you can fill them with the paint. It was really hard to do because of so many layers of paint. It was full of it. Keep it in mind. Don't do it, just paint it once with 2 or 3 layers and that's it. Be careful, because you can see some scratches, and now, ouch, that really hurts. All the letterings clean inside. Now we can move to painting. Unfortunately, again, I had some complications because the paint, it should harden in 24 hours, but it won't. I spent so much time waiting because of painting it 3 times. I didn't want to lose any more time and finally do this episode. As you can see, the white paint was like mixing up with the black one because it wasn't hardened enough. I was waiting over 24 hours in a warm room. There was some air movement, but it won't help. It is what it is. We have to move on. It won't be perfect, but there is nothing I can do about it. I can't waste any more time. I proceeded to clean the black writings. In the meantime, I have to admit that I need to learn how to do the writings when there is another paint around it, because this time I failed. I will try to sand it down a little bit, get rid of the white paint around, and after waiting another few days to make sure the paint will be hardened enough, polish it so you won't see that it was sanded. As you can see, it doesn't matter what paint you will use. I will use just the one I covered the whole club with. Now we just need to get rid of the excessive paint around. It took me like 5 minutes, and I used soldering iron cap, so whatever won't scratch the surface, you're free to go. Let's deal with the white paint residue now. Good advice for the future: if you are trying to polish the paint, you have to be very careful. It's very easy to burn it, and that's what I did, unfortunately. So I had to clean it, sand it down again and polish it, but this time very carefully. Summarizing, it doesn't went as I would like to. The club is refurbished. It looks much better than it used to. It doesn't have any more corrosion. The paint doesn't have any chips, but it could have been better. If you watch the whole video, you probably won't do the mistakes I did. You will just go straight to the sanding and do just the first paint, and that's it. So it will take you much less time and the effect probably will be much better. It was my first time working with a titanium club, and it works. So don't be afraid, give it a try, and if you do, show me the results. Going back to the club, the last touch, cleaning a grip, and we're ready to go. That's how the club used to look, and that's how it looks now. Definitely worth to give it a try. If you would like to see how to restore the iron golf clubs, check the video on the left side. Thanks for watching, see you next time, take care!